Hey there, and welcome to Ruck, Buttercup, the podcast that's all about real talk for military spouses and families. I'm Sabrina, and we're so glad you're here.
And I'm Ashley, and together we dive into the ups, the downs, and everything in between that comes with military life. From deployment tips to marriage conversations to PCS chaos, finding your identity and owning it, nothing is off limits.
And I'm Laura. Whether you're folding uniforms, packing boxes, managing the home front, solo, or just trying to make it through another long week, you're in the right place. Here on Ruck Up Buttercup, we share real stories, honest conversation, and practical support for military families.
We talk about the hard stuff, the hopeful stuff, and everything in between. Because military life is anything but one size fits all.
This is a space to feel seen, supported, and reminded that you're never alone in this journey.
So lace up those boots, lift your chin, and let's ruck up Buttercup. Military life doesn't define us. We rise in.
You can also hear us on Read Across America Radio on Women in Media Wednesdays at 11 p.m. See you there.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to Ruck Up Buttercup podcast, a podcast for our wonderful military community where we share real stories, real struggles, and real strength. Today's episode really embodies that to the core. I'm so excited to have our guest, Nicole Gebhardt, on today. She is a fellow military spouse. She is let's talk about her accomplishments. She is a mother, a best-selling author. She was this year's 2026 Military Spouse of the Year for the National Guard. Community leader. She is a recovery addict, and she just has one of the most heartfelt stories, one of the biggest struggle stories that I've had the privilege of learning about. But so today's episode is really going to be a tough one. It's going to be tough, but it's also going to hopefully make you guys feel seen and heard and empowered to find a community and not go through this life alone. Nicole has done a wonderful job to make sure that there is communities wherever she goes for the group of spouses that we will be discussing today. We do have a little bit of a trigger warning kind of per se for today's episode, and we will be talking about infant loss, abuse, addiction. So if you are not sure if you want to dive into this episode, that is okay. But we want to make sure that these are well aware that these are the topics today. So welcome to the podcast, Nicole.
Thank
I'm so excited.
you, Ashley. I'm super excited to be here today.
We've got connected because through the Military Spouse of the Year program, and just first off, everyone that was involved this year is phenomenal. And I have been so excited to learn about everyone's story. But we always start this episode off with letting our guests give a little backstory of their military spouse journey and where they led us today or where they're at today. So because your story is so important to what we're talking about today, give us a little bit of a little condensed version of and then we'll dive into those other areas a little deeper.
Absolutely. I feel super blessed that I have been able to turn so much pain into purpose. I know we're going to get into that: rape, abuse, infant loss, miscarriage, addiction. When my son died when he was 9 weeks old, I felt so alone, and I'll never forget at his funeral promising him, if I ever get clean, sober, and healed from my past, I will turn that pain into purpose and be that voice for millions of other women and military spouses who have experienced that kind of trauma. And I feel very blessed that I've been able to do that. I've published 4 books. I am a best-selling author. I was just named 2026 National Guard Spouse of the Year. And I get to work one-on-one and teach women how to feel beautiful and worthy, and that they're not just enough, but more than enough after you've experienced trauma. I want women to know that no matter what you've experienced, it doesn't define you, and that you can still live that beautiful life you've always wanted to live.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful sentiment. And I think everything that you've gone through over the years with the loss and everything, that, there's a lot of women out there, not just military spouses, who have gone through this. But I think military spouses have a little bit of a harder navigating those waters because they don't have what they feel their support system should be. Some may have a support system Some may have a support system, but they don't want them to know because they're embarrassed or whatever the case may be. But most of them are thousands of miles away from their family. And having these conversations, I think, is so important to make sure that there are people out there that can support you. So we're going to dive into some of these topics today. And like I said, these topics are going to be a little heavy. So hopefully there's no tears. I can't promise anything. You guys know that I cry all the time. Let's talk about part one, where when lives change forever for you. This is a pretty big part of your story. And so what was that moment that completely changed the course of your life? What kind of sent you down that spiral of addiction and all that kind of stuff?
Well, I've been through a lot. I'm super honest about my story. One, because I want military spouses not to feel alone. And two, like I shared, I want them to know that you can still turn that pain into purpose and live a beautiful life no matter what you've experienced. I grew up in this small town, Germantown, Tennessee, right outside of Memphis. And from the outside, everything looked beautiful. We were at church every Sunday. We looked very put together, but little did everybody know that behind closed doors, my father was sexually assaulting me. And it went on for years. And then when I finally stood up to him and told him I was going to tell on him, he said I was not worthy or good enough for anyone to believe me, or worthy or good enough for anyone to love me. So those words as a woman stuck with me for decades, feeling unworthy and not enough. I went off to college. I wanted to go far, far away. I was praying that I could stop all of this. So I went to Florida State University. And my freshman year, I was at an off-campus party and I was gang raped by a group of fraternity brothers. And once again, I felt crushed. I reported it to the campus police, but since it happened off campus, there was really nothing they could do. So I struggled with that for a long time, that trauma. I moved back to Florida after graduate school. I thought I had met my forever person. We got pregnant very soon. I miscarried, and I was devastated because I was that girl when I was little. I wanted such a big family. I couldn't wait to be a mother. I was devastated that miscarriage happened. That we got pregnant again, and super excited, had a great pregnancy, and I gave birth to my son, Samuel. And then when he was 9 weeks old, I walked into his nursery and found him lifeless in his crib. I placed Samuel on the floor, trying to breathe life back into him, give him CPR, but my mama heart knew he was already gone. He was cold to the touch. We called 911. But when the first responders got to my house, I was treated like a criminal. I was shoved into a bedroom. I had to give a statement to the police. I wasn't even allowed to tell my son goodbye. Then I had to plan a funeral. My husband at the time got so deep into drugs and became extremely abusive, emotional, mental, psychological, physical. He had convinced me I had killed my son, even though I knew that wasn't the case. I had him on his back. There was no blankets in the crib, but it was just another thing that I thought, because of the rape and the molestation, all the things, I thought it was my fault along with that. We had another baby, ended up in another miscarriage. Then I went on to have a few living children. And then one evening I walked into the bathroom while my husband at the time was giving our 2-year-old a bath and was doing a line of cocaine on the bathroom counter. And I said, enough, I cannot do this any longer. I grabbed my 2-year-old out of the tub. I grabbed my 1-year-old out of his crib. I was 7 months pregnant at the time, grabbed my very pregnant belly. We ran for our lives. I had no clue how I was going to keep food on the table, roof over our heads. We were on Medicaid, food stamps, WIC, you name it. I was working every single second just to keep the lights on. But that was the first time in my life I said, I'm going to break the cycle. I don't care what it takes. Life was good. I met my husband. I ended up going to get divorced from the first husband. I met my husband now, who has been in the military for 29 years. He had 3 children himself, so we blended our family of 6. He is an incredible man. He's even legally adopted my kids. We've lived a very, very beautiful life together, and it started off like rainbows and roses. It was a dream come true. It was an answer to my prayer, this beautiful man. But then I had never healed from the pregnancy and infant loss and the other trauma I had experienced. So I started drinking very heavily. It became, once the children were in school, I would drink until I went to bed. I couldn't heal. I could not. I drank just so I didn't have to feel. My husband was always gone with the military. And I don't even think he knew how bad it was, because I had become a full-blown functioning alcoholic. You wouldn't even know that I had been drinking all day. I could handle it so well at the time. So October 15th, 2019, it was Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day. I had decided I could not live any longer without my children who died, so I tried to commit suicide. I ended up throwing myself down 2 flights of stairs, and when my husband now found me at the bottom, he said I was barely breathing, barely responding, so he called 911. When the first responders got me to the hospital, the doctors in the emergency room said I wasn't going to survive. I had a brain bleed, brain contusion. I was 5 times the legal limit of alcohol. Well,
Goodness.
after a week in the ICU, I did survive. And when I woke up in that hospital bed, Ashley, I realized I quickly had two choices. I could lay down and die, or I could get up, get clean, sober, and heal from my past and turn that pain into purpose. And that's exactly what I did. I quit drinking. I quit using cold turkey. I started going to therapy. I was reading books. I was hiring coaches. I was doing every single thing I could to find myself and find my worth and learn to love myself again. And I've done just that. And I feel very blessed that every time we move, I get to start a pregnancy and infant loss support group. I get to start an addiction support group. I'm very, very open as a military spouse that it's not easy. We move every 2 years, have to completely start over, new support groups, new neighborhoods, new friends, new everything. And I want to be that safe space for women that every time they do move, they know that they're going to be okay and that they know that they are seen and heard and that they are not alone. So again, I feel super blessed that if that trauma changes one woman's life by me sharing my story, then I'm truly living my purpose.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons why so many of us are in the positions that we're in, because we've gone through something that we want to make sure no one else goes through. We want to make sure that those spouses, because again, yes, we're spouses. We're just like any other spouse married to any other person. But the struggles that come with military life, having your service member who is gone a lot and isn't there to see the signs, and if you just move somewhere and you don't have a good community set in place, like you don't have someone in who's like, hey, that was odd, are you okay? It is really easy to get lost in yourself. It is really easy to go down the tunnel of bad thoughts and into all the different things. I think that having someone like you, Nicole, who is out there raising her voice so that the other spouses can feel seen and heard and find that support, or feel brave enough to say, no, I can't do this anymore. And this isn't just their struggle. This is the same thing like you saying, no, I'm not doing this anymore. You're not going to sit here and continue to do drugs in front of our children and put their lives in jeopardy or anything like that. Giving spouses the opportunity to say enough is enough and to take their lives and their happiness in their own hands is so important. And I think a lot of spouses feel trapped and they don't have a say because they're thousands of miles away from home and they don't know how to get home from that point and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so that was little deep and heavy, and you went through a lot, more than anyone should ever go through. So first, thank you for sharing that with us and for everyone that's listening, because it's, how long did it take you to finally come out and talk about your story? Were you really at the very beginning, I'm going to tell anyone and everyone that would listen to?
No,
or were you
so when I fell down the stairs, when I tried to commit suicide, and when I survived that, I was bedridden for a lot because I had like a TBI and so many problems. My mom actually had to move in with us because my husband, we were at the Pentagon at that time. He was busy. He couldn't just stay home. He had to still work. He had to still, go TDY. He had to still do the military life. And one of the biggest things I remember doing is asking for help. And people share, how did you do that? I got to the point where I just couldn't do it on my own any longer. Pause. I forgot your question. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. So the question was, did you do that?
How long did it take? Okay.
How long did it take you to be like, okay, no, I'm sharing this. I'm gonna, because you weren't hesitant about telling us this story right now.
Okay. Got it.
How long did that take?
Okay. So how long did it take? When I did survive that suicide attempt, it took a while. I was bedridden for quite a while. My mom had to move in with us. My husband still had to do all the military things. We were at the Pentagon at the time, so he was busy doing all that. So the first 6 weeks, I was really bedridden. And then I remember thinking, I've got to share the story. I've got to share my past and why I was drinking, why I was using, and why I felt so alone and why I felt like I couldn't reach out to anyone. So it started very slowly. But then as I went to social media. And when I started sharing my story about the rape and losing Samuel and the miscarriages, all these women started reaching out to me saying, me too. I've experienced addiction. I've experienced child loss. Exactly. And it was wild to me, Ashley. I was grateful that I had found my voice, but I was also devastated. Did you know 1 in 4 women have experienced pregnancy loss? 1 in 4. Do you know how many military spouses that is? How many military spouses feel alone?
Your entire community, someone has experienced it.
Wild.
Even if they haven't expressed it to you personally, you probably know someone.
But yet no one's talking about it. It blows my mind. So it reminded me of this promise I made to my son that I am going to be that voice. I am going to speak very loudly on this topic in particular. And so I started sharing my story on social media, and it's funny because a publisher reached out to me. He's like, have you thought about writing a book? I was like, no, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And really I was healing myself by me sharing my story over and over. Not only was it resonating with other military spouses and women, but it was me healing. And so when she reached out to me, I was like, no. But then when I started thinking about, yes, I was like, I know how much therapists cost. I know how much coaches cost. I wanted to put something out there that women could just pick up and throw in their purse when they were ready to start their healing journey. Pregnancy, infant loss, addiction, abuse, whatever it may be. I wanted something easy for them to pick up. So the ball started going. It started me just being really authentic and brave and putting myself out there, and became like my mission and my purpose.
Yeah. And I think that's a beautiful way to honor Samuel, to continue to make sure, again, just that's the whole point of Deployed Love, and the whole point of the podcast is to make sure spouses feel seen and heard, because so many go through, no matter what you're experiencing, can be a very isolating community, but it can be a very beautiful community, and there can be a lot of healing and growth and hope that comes with this community. But if you aren't sharing what you're going through, no one can offer help. Because I'm a huge believer. I'm one of those people where it's really hard for me to ask for help. I think a lot of us have that built into us, that resiliency built in, that we'll handle whatever's thrown our way. But at the end of the day, we're human. Humans by nature, we need community and we need support. And I think one thing I would say, if you're listening, please ask for help. Don't get discouraged when you ask for help from the wrong person, because the right people are going to be there for you. And if you're looking for someone in any avenue of support, that's why we're like, reach out to us and we'll connect you with the people that can help you through the journey, because it can be terrifying. But there's so many amazing spouses out there specifically who are out there because they've gone through the same thing, and they want to make sure that you don't go through it alone, because that's what's beautiful about this community, is you don't need to.
And that was a huge part of my story too, Ashley. Like I shared, asking for help was life-changing, but people don't know what they don't know. And so when I started asking for help, my biggest supporters were military spouses. I've experienced that. I needed to hear that. I'm here for you. I had meals being dropped off at my front doorstep. How can we help with your children? Come to our Bible study.
Strangers.
Right.
Like, I'm going to assume that there were a lot of people who were just dropping them off, but I'm seeing the community rally.
It's amazing.
Behind.
It's amazing.
And not knowing someone from out of, like, just coming together and say, okay, our family, this military family that we're part of, someone is hurting. How can we support them? And people rally behind that. And I'm going to say something that I think is going to be a hot topic for some people, because I think some people are scared to ask for help because they're afraid that people are going to turn on them. Don't worry about the negative Nancys. Yeah. If they're going to judge or stir the pot for whatever reason, they don't need to be in your corner.
Correct. You're going to get judged no matter what. And I was too, especially when I started talking about even pregnancy and infant loss like that, but especially like the rape and the abuse. Like, they're like, no, you can't talk about that. I lost so many friends, Ashley, and so many family members. It was devastating. And for a while, I didn't have any relationship with my mom because you just don't talk about that stuff. And I tried to explain, this is my story. I've got to share this. And I had so many people turn their backs on me. And also being an officer spouse, you're kind of taught to keep it all together. And there's so much to talk about.
Can
I tell you, the first person that sent flowers after my fall was the National Guard, the chief of the National Guard, his wife. Military spouses are different. They're just different.
I think it's one of those communities where we're not in a tunnel vision of what a lot of our counterparts are. Like, I do think that there's a generational gap where there's still, because I feel like our generation is still in that area where we still sweep it under the rug. We don't talk about it. Where I think because we are part of the military community, we've been able to broaden our scope of what is acceptable, what is not acceptable, and what are things that we can talk about and why. And then talking about it is so important, because then you're like, I'm not alone in this. And what's crazy is, even though your story is so many things happen to you and so crazy, but there are so many other spouses that I've had the privilege of knowing who have gone through similar things. I had a really good friend who was also sexually abused by a very close family member, and no one believed her. And then several different spouses going through infant loss and losing a child, whether no matter what age, is traumatizing.
Right.
And so having people who are willing to speak up about it and say enough is enough, and we need to have these conversations, helps those spouses and those that come after us.
Right. And
Be
if
able
you
to
think about
sit-
like my husband, most of the year he's gone more than he's home. He's
Yeah.
currently working at about 4 hours away Monday through Thursday, and then he comes home for the weekend. Like this is the life we live though, but it's just what you do. And when you think about how lonely that can be and how people are struggling that haven't overcome an addiction or a child loss or something, it's scary. It's scary. And so I want to be that voice. So if one military spouse reaches out to someone else today and shares their story, and it can be it can be someone you trust. It should be someone you trust. But I want women to know, especially military spouses, that I see you and you're not alone. Make sure you're building that community around you. I remember when my husband called me about a year and a half ago from the Pentagon. He's like, guess what? We're moving to Alaska. I'm like, guess what? No, we're not. You're geo-batching. There's no way I'm moving from DC to Alaska. But when I started Googling and doing research and asking questions, because every time you move, there's a spouses group, spouses club. So I started doing that. I was like, oh my gosh, they've never had a pregnancy and infant loss support group here.
Yeah.
They've never had someone that speaks openly about abuse and addiction. They've never had that. And you couldn't get me here fast enough. I could not wait to build
And
that
I
here.
think Alaska is one of those locations. We were stationed in Alaska for a few years, and that's where I had my firstborn. And it is such an isolating
It's
location.
crazy here. I tell people it's not just cold. It's not that half the year it's dark outside. It's you're so far away. You're so
far away from everything. There's no chance of visiting family or
Right.
anything like that, because it's just the cost to fly to the lower 48 is way out of budget for most military families. And I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of times they're like, if you struggle with mental health, don't go. I'm surprised they let you go.
I know, right?
To be completely honest, I also think Alaska could be extremely healing.
It
because
really is.
it's such a
It's the
beautiful
hardest
place.
move, but I found myself here. I thought also, like, I'd written the books and all the things before getting here. One was published since I've lived here, and I really thought I had done all the healing. But as I started finishing writing the last book, I realized I had it. And so it's so funny how life works. Like before we move, I have to find a Bible study, a yoga instructor, and a hairdresser. That is just my goal. And I had this still have this amazing hairdresser. And she's like, you should try EMDR, this therapist. She's amazing here. And it's just the connections that you build like that, every time you move. And I really do think coming here, I found even more of my voice. This is where I won, 2026 National Guard Spouse of the Year. I felt like I stopped fully the victim mentality and completely embraced the queen mindset. And
I think that like moving, getting a fresh start per se, can really change a lot. And I feel like for some it can be like really devastating to leave a place if that is where you lost your child or whatever the case may be. It can be really tough to leave that location. But I think one of the beauties of being a military family is you have that opportunity to start over if that's what you need. And being able to do that and having that fresh mindset of, okay, like I'm going to be a new person here. I'm going to use my voice. I'm going to put action into something. And
I think Alaska's just made me braver and stronger. And
gotta be brave. You're facing moose every single day.
I know. So my son's buried in Florida, so I went to go visit family this summer. We stayed like a month, and it was amazing just to lay in the sun. I was like, this is amazing. And I visit him every time I go. But I teach military spouses that you got to find something else, because it is likely that you're not going to be where your child is laid to rest. And so some of the things I do each year on my son's birthday, I go to the grocery store and I prepay for a ton of birthday cakes. So when the parents go to pick them up, they're already paid for in honor of my son. We release balloons because it's something I did at his funeral. Every year on his angel date, I go and put money in diaper boxes and formulas. So I think there's things that you can do because you want to continue to remember your son. I am very open with my children that they had a big brother that passed away, that I did experience miscarriages. They also know about a little bit more of my past as well. And not the details, but I want them to
not age appropriate, like enough.
Right.
I think that's so important because then they're going to grow up and make sure that they can talk about that with their partner or with maybe a friend that's going through that they can support.
It's been incredible teaching my children to be that and be authentic and share stories. My youngest has talked to several moms. Hey, my mom lost a baby, and then And you're like, oh my gosh. But then the mom says, oh my gosh, I have too. And I'm like, wow, I'm building my children to do, oh, it makes me so emotional. I'm building my kids to do this and be the voice as well. And don't hide behind things, share it.
Yeah, and I think that's a beautiful sentiment, because having one, kids have no filter. Like,
None.
it's a great way to bridge that gap of, oh, me too. Where's your mom? I want to talk to her. I
They
mean,
make so many friends. It's pretty amazing.
I love that. I love that so much. I think that, so you said that, so you just finished your third book, right?
Fourth
Fourth book. Okay. So, and you feel like you now, like, we're like, each book was a level of healing for you. How was that, like, when you started writing that first book after you asked, was it healing for you?
Oh my gosh,
put it
yes.
in the paper?
Yes. And I share that in every podcast I do, because I want women, you might not want to write a book, start to journal. It is mind-blowing how healing it is. I have 30, and I keep them because I want to read back, because I never want to forget where I was. I always want to stay humble. I remember that I was very depressed and very anxious, PTSD, insomnia. I want to remember those things because those things have built me into who I am today. But journaling has been a huge part of my healing process. And that's like, people grab a journal, start taking notes in your phone, and you'll be amazed by how relieved you feel. And it's incredible. It's like relief.
Instead of like putting it on paper and loading it can be really,
it sounds so simple. It's just another big thing for me has been mirror work. Like, look in the mirror and start telling yourself, self affirmations. You're putting makeup on every day, or you're doing your skincare. Start talking to yourselves. I am beautiful. I am worthy. I am enough.
and Nicole is so good at this, guys. I love, she does this on Facebook posts too, where she's not only giving herself a boost, but then she's boosting other women up. And I'm like, I get so happy when I read your posts about what you're doing for the day, and you're a queen, or you are beautiful, you're doing an amazing job, or whatever the case may be, because sometimes we all just need that reminder, or we need that reminder. So I actually had a friend this morning who texted me. She goes, hey, how are you doing? Because she knows we've both been solo parenting all year. Her husband's in Italy, mine's in Poland. And I was a cuckoo person, was like, let's homeschool on top of working full time and running a nonprofit and doing a podcast. And it's been pure chaos.
Yeah.
And she was just like, hey, how are you doing? And I'm like, I'm good. I think I'm good. I'm trying not to go into vacation mode. How are you? And she's like, I'm okay. It's one of those weeks. I'm like, I hear you and I got you. And having just someone to check in on you, check in on yourself.
That is a big question I get asked. I know someone that they'll come to me. I know someone who just lost a baby. What can I do? I'll sign one of my books, like, give it to them, on me. But the one thing that you can do is ask them if they're okay. That's it. Because most of the time, we just want to be heard. We just want to feel
We
loved.
don't want to ask what we need. I think that's been a lot
What
of
can I do for you?
Is sometimes they just don't want to have the responsibility of giving you a task. This is what could help me. Mm-hmm. Some are, and I think having the different one. I had a friend who lost their baby at full term. Mm-hmm. So went into labor and baby did not survive labor. And she was really upset with the friend group when no one had said Happy Mother's Day that following Mother's Day. And fair enough, that was something that feelings were valid for her, and the excuse is we didn't want to the excuse for a lot of the people in the friend group was like, we didn't want to upset you. And she's like, I'm more upset that I wasn't included in the Mother's Day post and things like that. And some people were like, I don't want to talk about infant loss and stuff like that. And I'm like, and then the other part of the group was like, no, this is something we need to talk about. Her feelings are valid and things like that. If you feel upset about something, tell your friend group so that we can have those conversations, because we're a melting pot. We come from different backgrounds and we come from different ways of handling trauma and stress. And I've always been a part of it. No, my family doesn't talk about a lot of things. It's one of those things. I've always been very open because I think I grew up as a military kid. So I was surrounded by different religions and different cultures and people going through different stages of life. And so I had a bit of a different outlook, but people just, it's ingrained in them that they don't talk about their feelings. So you may have to be like, hey, something's wrong.
Right.
What is it? I can listen.
It's another, we don't know what we don't know. And it goes back. It's okay to ask for help. Yeah, I completely agree with all of that.
Yeah, I think you just have to ask for help, and asking for help can be terrifying, guys.
It can be. And, another thing is people, after my son passed away, everybody was there at the funeral. Everybody, are you okay? And then everything disappeared.
Yeah.
That is the biggest advice I can give to someone. If you know someone who's experienced stillbirth, miscarriage, infant loss, child loss, continue to reach out to them. 6 months, 1 year. It doesn't go away for us. I relive it every Mother's Day. I relive it every of his birthdays. I relive it every of his angel dates. There are different my other children's birthdays. It is something that will never go away. You can heal, but you'll never get over it. It will fully be a part of your life. And it's important to, like, if reach out to someone today. Hey, I was just thinking about you. Yeah. Just it's as simple as that. Another thing I do every day is I do start my day with gratitude. I think that it is a beautiful way to start your day. But I reach out to at least one woman and say, I'm thinking about you, or you are enough. And that's all just simple words. It's just simple things that we can do.
I think that's like a good practice to do. We talked about this recently on a podcast a couple episodes back, where it is just make it a habit of just reaching out to someone once a day. It can be a different person, and just check in on them, because I know I'm one of those people where I'm busy all the time, and I'll be like, oh, it's been a month since I've talked to this person. Are they okay? Are we okay? Like, all the different things. Having that practice of just going, hey, I was thinking about you this morning, having a cup of coffee, miss our coffee dates. How are things going? Because I know when I get those messages, I'm just like, oh,
it melts your heart. It melts your heart. I had a girlfriend the other day. She's like, just simple. I'm at Costco. Is there anything I can grab you? Just little things like that. You just feel seen. And we want to feel seen.
Even if there's something that you need, no, I'm good, but thanks for asking.
Exactly.
Like, it's just nice to know that someone's thinking about you. And the friend doesn't have to be someone who's going through something.
Right.
This could be a friend that, we're all going through something. We're all military spouses, so we're all going through the stress of military life, whether it's service member is gone, long trainings, long hours, their work stress, kids, sports, everything. It can all compile onto you, and it's a lot to carry in your
wild life. Sometimes when I sit and think about this, I was like, how the hell have I healed from all of this as a military spouse? How the heck have I done this? And
I think it's the mindset of helping others is really taking that from I'm not alone and I can help others. And then I'm a firm believer that I do everything I do, not just because I want to help other military spouses, but I want that community as well. I want to have the support and the connection back from those individuals as well. And
your community, the first thing, build your community. Whatever you like, there's going to be something up for it. I love the Spouses Club. I'm very honored to be the president for my second year. That has been my community. Not only, I didn't want to join it necessarily to just lead. I wanted the friendships. And, that's the biggest advice. As soon as you move, as soon as you PCS, even if you can beforehand, build your community.
And there's so many organizations out there now that you can connect. Social media has really opened the doors for you guys. I've been a military spouse for 16 years, and my husband's been in 18, and I grew up military as well. And social media has really opened those doors to find your community, whether it's joining a book club, a play group, a workout group, whatever the case may be. You have those opportunities to research that before you go and join. We have deployed love at 12 installations currently. We have instant teams that does community events. You've got the spouse associations, which I think is a phenomenal program too. I think it's a great way to meet and network and connect with different people. And it's a great way to learn about other organizations. So if you are going through something, so infant loss or seriously, anything you're going through, those spouses are going to be that anchor in that of, oh, hey, does this, you should talk to her. Or, hey, Ashley is the executive director for Deployed Love, and she has a lot of networking across the country. Let's connect you. Whatever the case may be.
Word of mouth is so powerful too.
It's so powerful.
It is so powerful. And that, like I shared before, every base I've been to, there's been some kind of Facebook group. And the moment I'll share, hey, I'm doing a pregnancy and infant loss, it's a ripple effect. And then people are like, oh, I can connect you with this person and this person. I also do them on Zoom because I still have all the women from Washington, D.C. and Florida and Savannah and Little Rock, everywhere else we've lived as well, But yes, reach out, build that community, and be brave. I know it can be intimidating, but be brave because it will change your life.
Yeah, I think being brave can mean different for a lot of spouses, but just taking that leap of faith. And again, I feel like this has been a reoccurring theme for us this year on the podcast. We all are going through real struggles, and we're all going through something that may be unbearable for you, no matter the severity of it. Don't let anyone kind of diminish that. But taking that leap of faith and going to a community event or meeting that spouse that you have been communicating via Facebook group or whatever the case may be for coffee can do wonders. It can change your outlook, your perspective on what you're going through completely. And maybe it doesn't work out, but at least you put yourself out there to see if it would. And that wasn't right for you at that moment, but doesn't mean that you're not going to find the right support and the right community when you absolutely need it. Yeah. But I do feel like you have to put yourself out there to find the support. If you need support, you also have to take that step. There's only so much Nicole and myself and those who are like-minded can do if the other party is not willing to extend their hand to, because I can keep my hand out to you guys at all times, but until you grab on and say, I need your support, I need you, whatever the case may be, I can't do much for you other than say, hey, I'm here. So take that leap of faith. See if you can find your community, because I believe that you can't go through this life.
You cannot do it. You cannot do it. You know, we had 6 littles, we had 4 in diapers at a time, and my husband's still going. Life doesn't stop. It doesn't matter how many children you have. Life continues to go on. And whenever anything bad can happen, of course it happens when they're deployed. That's just how it works. But I remember like joining MOPS and, you know, different Bible studies and different things that, like, if I hadn't had that group of military spouses behind me, I don't think I'd be here today. Yeah, there's no way I'd be where I am mentally, for sure. And there are lots of groups. And I remember when the kids were little, I was like, it was so much easier to make friends when they were little, because you could do stroller strides or whatever it may be. But we, you know, there are us that have older children or are, you know, in the prime of our career or whatever it may be. There are tons of groups. I do a coffee meetup every month for the Eielson spouses and for the guard spouses here. And it's amazing to see new women show up to it, because it doesn't matter what age you are. You want a community. You want to feel loved. You want to feel seen. You don't want to feel alone. And so they do exist. You might have to find them, but they do exist.
I know. And they do. And there are spouses out there who genuinely want to build a community and make sure you have a community. So if you are like on Facebook pages and you see these events happening, go to them. Right. Like, go. And then again, if it's not your thing after you go, then that's fine. But it may be the thing for someone you meet down the road, and you can share that. Again, word of mouth is so important in sharing it. I get so tickled and happy when I'm talking to spouses. They're like, oh my gosh, I heard about deployed love. I was just telling me about that. I'm like, really? Or I love when I just moved to Benning last year. I've been here for about a year. And so we've had coordinators here at Benning for the last 6 years. And I get so just warm and fuzzy when I'm like, oh my gosh, we loved Hannah. Hannah was one of our past coordinators. She's our coordinator in Hawaii right now. Oh, like, Hannah was so amazing. I'm like, I know she is. She's amazing. And I'm sorry you guys lost her, but Hawaii gained her and she's doing phenomenal there. And I love hearing when families find support through whether it's our program or another program. I'm a huge girls girl, and I'm always cheering up other organizations, and everyone has a seat at our table. And just hearing people like connecting, and this was a great program. I had such a good time attending this Instantine coffee or the USO event or whatever it is.
That's why I love the spouse of the year. I met these incredible women, not just all the military spouses of the year for the branches, everyone else there. It was just listening to people's story that you might not know. Because I remember in the beginning, I was like, am I just alone? Has no one else ever experienced all of this? But it's amazing to be in a powerful room with so many inspiring spouses that have their stories, and they get to share how they healed or what they tried that maybe you hadn't. You know, another thing, I'm not sure if you've ever heard of Reiki energy healing. That was a big part of my journey as well. And it's really cool to just take different notes from all the spouses there. You know, I prayed for a long time, because we do move a lot every 2 years, start over, new life completely. I wanted these like deep rooted girlfriends, and these other women have become those deep rooted girlfriends that if I need anything, they're there. They're there.
And the military community is so small, you guys. I know that it seems very vast and very big, but in the grand scheme of things, we are not that big of a community. And I love how we can have a community and then go our separate ways, but then happen to come back at a different installation, and it's no time pass, and you just fall back into step. But there's been so many military spouses that I've connected through the Military Spouse of the Year, but also just networking. I mean, almost all of my coordinators, I've never gotten to meet them in person because they're across the country.
But you feel like you know them, right?
Just get to celebrate. One of our
Yeah.
coordinators got married this past
I love that.
4th of July weekend, and we've had babies born, and we've watched kids grown up, and it's just so wonderful to see it virtually, but also get to
And you want to see
connect.
each other shine. I met with Madison yesterday because I'm going to do a bracelet with them, and they want to see you shine. We want to be each other's backbone and help each other thrive and be there for each other. So, I mean,
Yeah.
and it is funny because it's really not a lot of us. We're just very tight knit. And the fact that we have to be resilient. I'll never forget when I was a little girl, I could never be a military spouse. Those women have to be so strong, so independent. And you do, but you don't have to do it alone.
Yeah. And if you have the mindset that you can do it alone, you're not going to be successful. I'm going to be really blunt with you.
Well-
I don't think you'll be successful. I don't think you'll be happy. I don't think that you will be able to navigate rough waters by yourself. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to build your community direct line with spouses in your husband or your spouse's unit. I know a lot of spouses who don't want to do that, but I do think that having someone who's gone through similar things or is going through similar things is going to be helpful. Even that's a spouse in a different branch or in a different unit or somewhere, something that can just be like, I get it, girl. I get it. I know it's frustrating. Let that frustration out. I think one year right before we PCS, me and a friend had a bunch of stuff that we just weren't keeping. We were throwing away. And we just went out back and just threw. We were so frustrated. We had gone through 3 back-to-back activations, like 2-hour activations. And we were just so frustrated. We're like, you know what? We couldn't go anywhere because our kids were teeny tiny, without hiring a babysitter. And so we're like, okay, let's put a movie on for the kids and let's go in the back and just throw these plates and we can sweep it up. And we just had so much fun just getting just some pent-up frustration out and whatnot. But yeah, so my thought process is the bubble burst. So you've written your 4th book. You have all these wonderful books out for families to use as resources. You start your support groups. You have it virtually as well. What else are you doing? Is there anything else on top of that you are doing? Because, girl, that's a lot.
My favorite thing to do is the coaching that I do, is working one-on-one with military spouses. And it's been incredible to teach these women how to love themselves again and no longer feel like victims and ready to get out of bed each day. You know, I get to speak all over the world sharing my pain to purpose story as well. But I have to say my favorite part is when a woman finishes their counseling with me and walks out the door and looks into a mirror and says, I am beautiful, I am worthy, I am enough. So I love doing the support groups, but I really love working one-on-one with clients as well. It's just a powerful thing to be able to hear everyone else's story and help them navigate through those struggles as well. So I love speaking, I love writing, but it's working one-on-one. That's my biggest passion.
I love that. So as you're having these conversations with these individuals, whether it's in the support groups or one-on-one, are there any conversations that you feel that we're still avoiding that we all needed to be shouting from the rooftop? Is there something that's, hey, like, even though I'm talking about this and we're having more people talk about it, are there things that as a spouse collectively we can come together
Like
and
topics?
make sure that
Different
topics?
I mean, it goes back, like, you know, I'm very open and honest about sexual assault. This needs to be talked about. There's 1 in 3 women have experienced some form of sexual assault. That's got to be talked about. I know you said that, you know, we're kind of
1 in 3.
1 in 3. 1 in 3.
Yeah, I feel like it's so much more. I don't know a single person who has not gone through
Isn't
some
that wild? That's
of-
another thing that's just wild. But no one talks about it. And I get when my parents were growing up, you know, you don't even talk about pregnancy loss. You didn't know if they had a miscarriage or anything. But like in this day and age, when people are with this Me Too movement and stuff, but still, it's not. I feel
Right.
like more people talk about empowerment, but how? How?
Yeah.
What's the
And
how?
that's even my next question. Like, how can we empower? Because I know my sexual assault doesn't compare to yours or other spouses who have gone through it. Very mild. But still, nonetheless,
But that
something
doesn't
that
matter. It just destroys your
perfect.
self-worth. It
Yeah.
destroys you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what level it is. And
Yeah.
that is just wild. That's why we feel so unworthy and unloved because of these things are happening and yet no one's talking about it. That's not
Well, and I
okay.
feel like it's one of those things too where the mindset of, oh, it wasn't bad. It wasn't,
It is.
you know,
It doesn't matter what it was. It's bad.
it doesn't matter. And allowing someone to
And the blame
do that,
game.
it's just going to have them do it more and more and more.
Right.
And then eventually it's going to be full blown assault.
Right.
And it is
And I
going to
want women to
traumatize
know
them.
that it's not your fault. I can't. No, it's not your fault. I remember for the longest time, Ashley, I had the black dress on. I had been drinking. I thought like I brought this on. That's not true. And I think about this now. Those boys have little girls now, and it's just the amount of sexual assault that happens is just mind blowing to me. And that is a big thing that people still aren't talking about.
And I think that's conversations you have to start having with your children early too. I am very strict with my kids. We talk about boundaries all the time. And I tell my oldest is a boy, he's 11, and I'm always kind of, listen, if you don't respect a boundary, if you no is a complete sentence, stop is a complete sentence, no, thank you, all of that means no.
Right.
And I'm always, I love you and I will love you, but I will not protect you and I will not support you if you choose not to respect.
And that's
those
exactly why I share my story too. Again, I do not share details, but I am very honest with them that there are boundaries. And, even with my son, he's never going to have his door closed with a girl in his room. There's just certain things that I'm just not going to allow because of things that happened to me. But yeah, I think we need to be, I don't want my kids to think life is easy. I pray to God they don't experience what I experience, but life's not easy. And I want them to be fully aware what's happening around them at all times.
Yeah. And I think that's going to help them grow up and be those advocates and break that cycle of all that happening again and again. I know growing up, I knew that I was a teen pregnancy and I didn't have details or anything like that, but I knew that my parents were really young and they had twins. And I was like, I don't want that to be me. I don't want to be someone extremely young that doesn't get to go off and do what their dreams are doing because I didn't listen to my parents about whether it's safe sex or anything like that. And I think having conversations and not hiding things, which blows my mind that people hide things because of today's society. It's so much is out there. I'm every single day, I'm just waiting for the kids to ask me questions about something they've seen or heard or anything. And yeah, there's certain ways that can protect that. You can homeschool, you can shelter your kids, but
well, be cautious with that too. There were so many boundaries when I was growing up. Like even when I graduated high school that summer after, I had a curfew of like 10 p.m., like just crazy stuff. So when I went off to college, I was wild. I was a wild child.
That's usually what happens.
Yeah, because they were so, don't keep your child in a bubble. Don't
have a healthy relationship. But like I knew with my mom, because my mom was just like, I can't tell you not to do something because I did these things when I was this age. And I can tell you what were the results of those. I can tell you how that affected me as I am the person today. But you're a teenager and you're going to do these things. If I went to a party drink, I was like, if you drink if you drink to a point where you can't drive, don't drink and drive, like call me, I'll pick you up. If you are anytime, just call and tell us. I might be upset that I'm having to get up at 2:00 in the morning, but I'd rather you be alive. I'd rather you be safe. I'd rather you be all that kind of things. And so just having those open relationships.
Well, then think about addiction. I'm terrified because I am an addict. My dad was an addict. My granddad was an addict. And that is why I'm so open with the kids about it. Because it doesn't have to be, after I got sober, then it was shopping. And then until I really healed myself, you covered up with another overeating, whatever it may be. Most women have some kind of addiction and don't even realize it. But again, that goes back to find the root cause. I see it and I'm obsessed. I cannot wait to look. Take a picture of this.
Like when I'm sad, I go buy a book.
I wish you could see them. I've got them everywhere too. I mean, they're everywhere. But there are healthy addictions. There are definitely. I now work out when I want to drink. There are
Yeah, and then finding it to do it with somebody, I think is so good. I fell back into reading during a really low part of my life, like very like postpartum depression, things like that. And this hobby with friends that we could read books and discuss it and things like that, it was so amazing. And it really just brought so much joy back to my life.
I love to read. I read a book a week. I love it. It brings me so much joy.
My kids are always like, "You got another book?" I'm like,
Amazon is like, "Get the book, mommy."
It makes me happy, and it makes
Same.
me happy in a way that, but it's also a healthy habit that I can also share with my kids. I'm like, okay, we read the Percy Jackson series this year together, and Harry Potter, which I love Harry Potter. I grew up on Harry Potter. That was my happy place when I was a military kid, moving every single year, because I moved every single year through high school and stuff. And it was a way for me to cope. And so finding things that can help you cope and things, it will help you guys navigate waters. What are some tips and tricks that you tell families or spouses that are going through some of these things? Because a lot of these are heavier topics. So it's not going to be a quick fix type of thing like this. It's going to take time. It took you, you're still healing.
I'm still healing. But I would say when I hit about 10 years of sobriety, so which was, I don't know, 20, maybe 15 years after his death or something.
Yeah.
It took a long time. And I will tell you, 90% of marriages end in divorce if they've experienced child loss. There's usually a lot of abuse in that. There's a lot of blame. The statistics are wild on that as well. Sorry, what was your question?
I actually don't even remember what my question was. Oh, I was like, what are some tips? And so let's do this two part.
Okay.
So what is some tips or tricks that you can,
Okay.
let's do it two parts.
Okay.
One that you tell spouses to do that are going through this. And then the other part is as a community aspect for spouses outside of those, like what are things that we could do other than asking for help? I think that's a pretty important one. But say someone's going through something hard. What are some ways for those spouses to kind of navigate those to the best of their ability? The first
thing I would say is you need to be doing something for yourself at least once a week. It starts there. And it doesn't have to be buying a pair of red bottom shoes or this beautiful purse. Go for a walk. Take a bath. Turn on my favorite song and dance in the kitchen like no one's watching, no one's listening. Do something for yourself. That would be where I started. The second would be, again, ask for help. Ask for help. Reach out to one person you trust and ask for help. Start implementing gratitude in your life. I can't tell you how much that has changed me. The moment I wake up, I list 3 things I'm grateful for. And then when I go to bed,
a great tip for
everybody do it. And then when I go to bed, I go through my day and name out the one thing that I'm most grateful for that day. So then you're going to sleep and wake up the next day a little bit more happier, a little bit more joyful. So definitely ask for help. Make sure you're starting your day with gratitude. Make sure you're doing at least one thing for yourself, because the truth is you cannot fill someone else's cup, your children, your spouse, your friends, until you've filled your own cup. And also the biggest thing I can say for people that have, really any trauma, but you've got to find things that bring you joy. Mine is being by the water, reading a book.
Something about water is
so
just
amazing.
I thrive, y'all. Thrive when I'm near any form of water, whether it's a lake. I'm a lake girly at heart. I would rather be on the lake, but lake, ocean, river, if I'm near some form of water, I am at peace.
I'm the same way. But
I think that no matter what it is for you, like if it's
find
nature,
those
you're like, nature, then make a cozy space in your home that is designated for that time. Whatever the case maybe is, but I don't know.
But another thing is express those emotions and feel things. Maybe you need to set it. This is something I've done as well. I set a timer for 10 minutes, punch a pillow and cry. I mean, that's okay to do stuff like that. You have to honor the feelings. If you're going to put
scream in that pillow. I'm a screamer. I'll go and yell in a pillow just because I feel that pent up frustration coming in. That's my way to release it.
Right.
And I think that 1,000%.
And another
get that out.
Huge thing. You got to forgive yourself. We are the hardest people to forgive. I have forgiven the past and the people that have hurt me, but forgiving ourselves is the most important. It wasn't your fault. You're going to be okay. You can get through this. It's not your fault. And I can't say that over and over, whether it's pregnancy, infant loss, rape, abuse, addiction, none of it was your fault, but you've got to find your reason why. Why do you continue to beat yourself up over it? It is.
And I think that you have to, if you're taking that step of saying enough is enough, no more, your reasonings have to be beneficial for you.
Right.
You can't be doing it for somebody else, because you may not be as successful if you are making, I'm doing this because I want to be a better mom for my kids. That's still something for you. Yes, it's going to benefit your kids, but if you're doing because my husband says I have to do this to be a better mom for my kids,
Girl,
then
me and Jeff, my husband, we were on the verge of divorce with my drinking. It was bad. Like, he was going to take the kids. There was nothing he could do, though. It had to be, I needed to hit my rock bottom. I had to decide I want to overcome this addiction. I had to decide I wanted to get help. I had to decide that I wanted to turn that pain into purpose. No one's going to do it for you. That's why one of my books says it's called A Queen Saves Herself. You got to do the work, and it's not going to be easy. I tell my clients the moment they rock in my front door, none of this is going to be easy, but you can do it. You got to get up every single day and know that you're worthy to do it, that you're good enough to do it, and that you can do it. It's these little tiny steps that you have to start with.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And, you know, going along with asking for help, like having those conversations with your support system, whether it's your spouse or your friend, and keeping that communication going is really important. We grow. We're growing and learning, and I think that's something that we're all doing, whether you're going through some type of trauma or anything like that. But your needs are going to change. Your what you need in that moment is going to be very different from what you may need 6 months down the road or 6 months previously. You have to have those conversations with your partner, because they're not going to know.
Right.
My needs have changed over the years, where it used to be like, I needed you to do this. And now I'm like, when the kids were little, I hated asking for help. I hated saying, I need you to do X, Y, and Z. My thought and my expectations were, you see the dishes are fully, like the sink is full of dishes, that I am dealing with the kids who are crying and I'm overstimulated. Like, you can come help me. Now, hey, I need you to do X, Y, and Z. Do that, and it doesn't bother me anymore. You have to have those conversations.
Absolutely. And you got to be working on your marriage as well. You know, my husband and I have been married for 14 years, and people are like, how do you have such a beautiful marriage? We work on it. Communication is
it's
huge.
not always easy.
Trust is huge. We make sure every Friday night we do a date night, and it doesn't have to be going out to a fancy restaurant. The kids know we're going to go outside. You know, I'm going to have a sparkling soda or whatever it may be. It's finding that time for each other. And when you're on a date, don't just talk about the kids. Talk about you, your life, what's going on in your life. But you have to work on your marriage. Find each other's love language. Mine and my husband's are words of affirmation. So each morning we send each other a text message, because he's never home. I mean, that would be a wild thing. And just saying why I love you, or, you know, I'm so proud of you.
I mean, that's what we do every morning.
It's so
every morning.
Amazing.
My husband will text me, say good morning when I wake up in the morning, because it's like mid-afternoon for him. I'm like, good morning. And just sending little reminders throughout the day to keep us connected. Yeah. Obviously, if you're going through a deployment, you may not have that opportunity. Sending a sweet email or doing something like I'm starting, my husband will be back in October. And so I'm starting to be like, okay, what are things that I need to bring to have at the house ready for him when he gets home? Because it's been a year. I haven't purchased things like that. One of the things right now, like the step-ups to his truck are rusted. And I'm like, I should probably start looking for new ones and maybe just replace these before he gets home. So he has a nice little surprise, because they're looking rough. Just something that's just a little nice for him. My husband's is acts of service.
Oh, the truck is perfect.
Like our love languages, I feel like mine specifically has definitely changed.
Mine has changed as well. Yeah.
So, you know, having different things, like I'm a physical touch girly. Like anytime he's touching me, I'm like, oh, he loves me. But I also love words of affirmation. Like I want to hear him say, but I also, like, my husband's not a talker. So it's one of those things where I think that's what I wish I was more, because I just want to hear him say it more.
Well, and our seasons change. You know, when you're in the thick of it in motherhood, you might want something different. When, like, now I've just started my career 5 years ago, you know, and that's okay.
I get so offended if he walks by me and doesn't touch my butt. I'm just like,
I love that.
Excuse me?
I love that.
What are you doing? He's always, what? And I'm like, you walked by and you didn't give me a kiss or a little love tap.
And that goes back to communication, though. You shared your voice. Yeah. You shared your truth.
And exactly. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. And
I'll never do that again.
I know. And if he leaves in the morning without giving me a kiss, even though he's thinking dead asleep, I will instantly text him. Like if I hear the garage door open, I'm like, are you kidding me? You better come back upstairs and give me a kiss. I don't care if you're mad at me. I don't even care. But you walk out of this house without kissing me goodbye, we're going to fight. So he doesn't do that, because I think he did it twice. And I was like, sir, he's like, I was running late. I was like, I don't care. I don't care if you're going to have to go, whatever your punishment is, you don't leave. So having conversations is important, and communication. And as you're growing and healing, you're going to grow.
Right.
So having those conversations, even if it may be a little painful to revisit some of those things, you have to communicate that with your partner as well as your friend group. I mean, I think we've said it so many times, but you have to be open if you want the support, because we're only going to be able to help.
Yeah.
And we're only going to speculate, and you're going to have friends who are going to maybe toe the line with, does she want to talk about it? She's not talking to me about it, so maybe she doesn't want to talk about it.
Reach out to them. You never know what's going on behind closed doors. You never know it, especially in the military life, because you can get so secluded. Like, just reach out. Anybody listening, reach out to someone today and just say, how are you?
I love that. That's your task for the day. Yes. Reach out. I love the daily mindset of check in with somebody. Anybody in your community. It could be someone you haven't talked to in 2 years.
Exactly. Say, that will mean even so much more to them.
It would. Yeah. And I genuinely, for someone who has this done to her, for like people who do it to her, like just having it done this morning, going like, oh, someone took a moment today to be like, how is Ashley doing? Yeah. And it really can do wonders, guys. 100%. So, couple of questions. We're going to do a couple more questions to finalize this out. So two more questions. What would you tell a woman who is currently going through something that you went through? And this could be like, what would you tell yourself if you could tell yourself something, tell your old self now that you are healed and going through it? Or what would you tell someone who's going through it currently? You can phrase it whichever way would be easier.
I would say you are worthy to heal. You are worthy to feel beautiful. You are worthy to live that life you've always wanted to live. You know, for the longest time, people now ask me, why do you say queen? Because I didn't feel worthy to be called a queen. I didn't feel worthy to be treated like a queen. And, that's why I use that so often, because we all are. We are worthy to have and be and feel however the way we want to.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's yes. So we usually end with this question for everyone who's a military spouse. And this can be related to your expertise or what you've gone through, or this can just be in general. But if you could give advice to a military spouse, whether it's a new military spouse or seasoned military spouse, what is your one tip as a military spouse that you're going to tell someone who's coming into this community?
I can't say it enough. Find your community. Find your people. I mean, there's nothing bigger than that. You can get into ask for help and do the things, but it starts with finding your people. And I promise you they're there. But I will also promise you it does take work. You've got to go to the coffee meetup. You've got to do
a relationship. It's like dating, guys.
Right. Yeah. But it's going to be a lot easier than you think, because we're all in the same boat. We're all experiencing the same thing.
We all want it. We all want the same
So get out there and get it. Own it.
Yeah. I know you'll see people post all the time like, I'm an introvert and I really want to make friends, but I'm just kind of scared. I'm like, listen, I hear you. Mm-hmm. I hear that you're introverted. But the only way you're going to make a community, you already took the step of kind of writing it, but now you have to take that step of.
I will say that almost everybody that writes that on our, different pages and stuff, that someone else says, me too, let's meet up. Start there. Yeah. Put it on a spouse page. Do something. But you've got to take those steps to build that community.
Yeah, and you can be specific about what you're looking for. I love seeing people who know the community that they're looking for. I want someone who is faith-based. I want someone who may have young kids, because then our kids can get together. I don't have any kids, and I really want a community that someone else who doesn't have kids, because let's be honest, we have kids, our focus is on our
here. We have spicy book groups. I mean, there's something for everyone.
So many different things.
Start the damn thing. Start it.
Yes. Now, I will say, before you start something, please, for the love of God, research to make sure that it's not already there, because that's one of my biggest frustrations is someone's like, oh, I think I'm going to start a play date. I'm like, bro, there's already play date. Go to one that's already
Google
there.
that in the search bar and it'll pop right up. Yeah.
Or hey, a book club. I mean,
we spouses are amazing people, and we do a lot of stuff. So it's very likely you're going to find that.
Listen, your key to your pod is out there.
It is.
And you're going to find one at every installation. And like Nicole said, it's going to take a little time. But if you put yourself out there, I want to do a speed dating thing here. I feel like here at Netting, because it's that trade-off installation. So you have a lot of young spouses here. And I'm how fun would it be to kind of do a speed dating friendship style event where we're just coming together and you're getting 20 minutes to just chat about, okay, what's your favorite hobby? Okay, oh my gosh, cool. You like books? Okay, what's your favorite book? Just having that moment and then being able to like, hey, I really connected with this person. Or hey, that girl, that other girl it wasn't the right vibe. That's okay. You do not have to every person you come in contact with. We're human.
Exactly.
We're human. So thank you so much, Nicole, for coming on and being my guest today. You guys, like I said, we talk about real stories, real struggles, real strength that comes on it, because at the end of the day, everything that we go through, we get strength from that. We are learning, we are growing, we are becoming better humans, so that way we can support our community. And if you are tired of hearing me say the word community, because it's going to be something that we come back to every single time, because it is genuinely the most important. So if you're at any of the installations where we have deployed lift coordinators and you're looking for community, please join. If you're looking to build a community and you would like to start an installation, please let me know. And if you are someone who's going through anything that we talked about today, or know someone who's going through this that may need a little extra nudge, connect with Nicole, because she is going to be a perfect person to reach out to and find resources and connect and maybe help you grow and heal from all that, because you deserve to heal. You deserve to feel your very best, and you deserve support, because ladies, gentlemen, you are important. You are seen, you are heard, you are cherished, you are loved, you are all the things. And we hope that you, if anything today, you take that away, that you are not alone in this crazy life that we call military life. So thank you so much, Nicole. Yeah. And for those that are listening, we always end with the point of the podcast. We're here to help bear the burden, you guys, of this life, and that you aren't going to have to ruck it alone. So Ruck up, Buttercup. We're in this together. Bye, everybody.